Hi everybody, welcome back into another video. If you haven't been hiding under a rock all day today, I'm sure you'll have seen this. Let me tell you why that's brilliant news for the Manx Grand Prix / Classic TT. Let's go. Yeah, if you've seen today, you'll see the news that they're going to introduce a Formula 600 or Junior 600 or however they're going to word it for the Classic TT next year. And in terms of bikes, it means early R6s, the late CBR 600 steel framed versions of the CBR 600s before they went to alley frames, early Gixxer 600s and Kawasaki ZX6s as well. And from a personal point of view, it's rings so many bells for me because I started racing on Steelies, and you've seen in my videos before and behind the cameras, my early R6, my 99 R6, the first year they made them. You'll see my Steely sat behind me, and I've got another one over in the corner behind the R6. You know, they are ringing all of my bells. This class of bike. My Yamaha being my first ever motorbike that I bought for myself as a road bike before I even went racing, and then my Steelies being the ones that I started racing on, and I've still got them all. They're just brilliant. And although when I did start racing, they were 10 years old. I couldn't afford to go and buy a brand new super sport bike in 2007, 2008. So yeah, they ring a lot of bells for me, tick a lot of boxes. And from a personal point of view, it's really, really exciting to see those bikes back on the Isle of Man and racing around here. Now, if you go back to the early days of the Classic TT, when it was in its sort of initial rendition, there were some Steelies in it. I remember because I'm part of the Steel Frame 600 race group on the island and in the UK in general, and all discussion really is about people who race Steelies. We call them Steelies. And as soon as it was announced that they could be eligible for the Classic TT, so we're talking about probably 10 years ago now. I bet it's probably 10 years ago. The only Steelies that were eligible for it were the very, very first ones. You're talking like the 91, 92, like the F1s. So for anybody who's not into like the Steelies as much as I am, and hopefully quite a few of you are, then a lot of this is a little bit geekish and a little bit niche. But yeah, the very, very early Steelies were the ones that were eligible, and everyone was trying to find the really early frames because obviously it's the frame number that gives the bike its identity and gives it its year. So I even got one, I'll be honest. My dad managed to find one, an early 90, must have been 1992 F1 Steely Frame 600 frame. We were looking into building one and competing at the Classic TT as well as the Manx Grand Prix. In the last couple of years I was doing it. But for one reason or another, it didn't really work. There was a few modifications you had to make to a few bits to make it work. And really, it was just not a side attraction, but it wasn't like a main focus for me. I was concentrating on the modern classes and wanting to do well in the Manx Grand Prix, and that was just been some extra track time, really, if it was a simple thing to do, but it turned out to be a little bit more complicated. Anyway, I'm getting away from myself again, but what's really exciting about this class is that you'll have heard me not criticize what's going on, but one of the things that myself, I don't enjoy, and I know a lot of you don't enjoy, is when we've got races that have really small fields. So you'll have an entry of maybe 40 bikes, but with what happens leading up to races with mechanical failures and people getting injured and financial issues, is you might have 40 odd, you might get 30 odd sign on, you might get low 30 odd start the race, and you might get something in the 20s finish it. And it's just spending more time watching nothing on circuit than watching bikes. So a class like this, I think, and we don't know anything for sure yet, it only came out this morning, but I think this class will just have a full entry. And for two reasons. It's modern enough that it's still really popular, and the bikes are still affordable enough and plentiful enough that there's loads of them and people aren't too precious about them. And that's a really important thing. There's going to be some trick stuff that'll come out of somewhere, and I can't wait to see what comes out, because there was some really, really trick. I'm sure someone will find them, World Superbikes from that era. They'll have some really, really smart little parts on them. I can't wait. See, I'm not old enough to appreciate the old bikes at the Manx Grand Prix or the Classic TT. And when I see older people looking around some of the older stuff, and seeing certain bits on them or seeing certain history in certain bikes that just ring something for them, and you see how excited they get about it. I can see myself doing it now, but with bikes that are 30 years old, not 60 years old. So yeah, that's a really exciting thing for the Classic TT this year. The last video I made with the TT lap in the Formula One car, it proved to be really, really popular. That gained some traction and got loads of views compared to what you'd expect from such a tiny little channel like this. And loads of people have got loads of really good ideas about other things you could do in that area. And I'll do some more of it because ultimately, like I've said before, if stuff I make's popular and you want to see more of it, I'll make it. And if you don't like it and it's not popular, I won't. It's pretty simple. And so I've got some really good ideas for that going forward. So we'll get to those when we get to those. But yeah, keep watching this space for those ones. But what was interesting that came out of it is so many different opinions that we don't normally hear on this channel, or my old one for even. And it comes because everything I did before this was based solely around the TT, road racing, motorbikes, and a lot of people who watched it, commented on it, anything I did in the past were from that community. And as soon as you cross over into the sort of the F1 world, yeah, I'm not going to say it's complete football mentality, but there are some areas of that creep in with people's opinions on that is absolutely wrong, or this is absolutely right. Or, I mean, don't get me wrong, the general consensus was that was a laugh, that was fun to watch, and I enjoyed it. But you do start to see a little bit of that, that Formula One fan mentality creep in a little bit, which is fine. I don't mind it. I'm a Formula One fan, and it's almost frowned upon a little bit as somebody who's in the bike racing world, and especially road racing, that you should like that because it's road races are the real heroes, are the real guys who do it because it's their absolute passion. They're not doing it for money and fame, and it's dangerous. Whereas Formula One, they're seen like Premiership footballers in a way, where they're always complaining on the radio, and they're so, they've got more money than you can shake a stick at, and they've got nothing to anyway. It can all be a little bit children's playground kind of stuff with them, but those guys are extremely talented. Like, people think, oh, anyone could drive those cars, and then you hear stuff like from the rally world about they're the best drivers in the world, and Formula One guys are just playing at it, and they're not. Like, you see the amount of people who try and get to where they've got to. We're not going to get into all that now because it's not really for now. But I spoke about in the video when I was doing that bit through Hanley's and saying how that very, very quick change of direction reminded me of that swimming pool section at Monte Carlo, at Monaco. And if you want to see how good those guys are, just watch qualifying at Monaco. Like, the Monaco race is the worst race of the year. I wouldn't advise anyone to sit there and watch that. Why would you put yourself through it? But the qualifying session, they're getting so close to the barriers, they're pushing so hard, because pole basically means you win it. Bar an absolute disaster, pole pretty much cements you a race win at Monaco. So the race is won on the Saturday. And so they're prepared to put everything on the line to get that pole position. And they are pushing hard. And we know that when they drive in the race, they're managing tyres so much, and they're managing fuel, and they can be 6, 7, 8 seconds a lap slower in a race than you are in qualifying trim on low fuel with no tyre conservation. So yeah, when you see them do their thing on a Saturday, it's properly impressive. And I'll defend Formula One drivers for that, because yeah, it takes a lot of skill to do what they do and not stick it in the wall. And coming up soon is Macau, last road race of the year. Again, spoke about this a little bit before, a little bit of a jolly for the boys, a little bit of a season finale, kind of do the race, go on holiday, have a good time, and the rest of it. But it's still a very, very serious race. It's still very dangerous, and the boys pushing at the front are still going to want to win it. They're going to really want to win it. So it's always good to watch. It's not the best thing in the world, but it's almost like we save a little bit just for the end. So it's not over yet. We've still got that to look forward to. It just sort of leads you in before we head into that sort of festive Christmas period and then winter. But normally by now we'd have some kind of news about riders moving teams or new riders who have signed up as newcomers for the TT and things like that. But nothing's really come out. I haven't heard anything. I haven't, and nothing's been made public about anything. So yeah, I'm sure stuff will come out in the next few months about that, and we'll have a chat about it, obviously. But yeah, at the moment, nothing to report in terms of who's riding for who and any big moves that are happening or any new manufacturers coming in. Obviously, on a previous video, we spoke about the new sport bike class and how that might develop, and that's going to be interesting. But yeah, in terms of rider lineups and team lineups, not too sure where that's all going to go yet. So yeah, we'll keep an eye out for it in the future. Finally, the last bit, the mountain road's been closed for what seems like eternity on the Isle of Man if you live here, and it's okay for me because I live in Douglas and I work close to Douglas, so it's not an issue. But all the people who have to commute over the mountain and it's been closed, it becomes a right pain. And I know nowhere's far on the Isle of Man, and everyone will be, like in the UK, will be saying, oh, even further afield, all you guys out watching in America and Australia, it's like you don't know what a big commute is if you live on the Isle of Man. And it's true, you don't. But yeah, the work on the mountain's been finished. Shot here of the new road going in from Keppelgate down to Kate's Cottage, which looked great, and haven't been up to see it yet. But yeah, looks good, and obviously another improvement for the course, which is always good news and be welcomed by the riders and welcomed by the marshals in that area as well, because having to deal with like damp patches and things, and it's nice when you've got a good road surface that you don't need to worry about it too much. So yeah, just a little update on that as well. But that's pretty much it. Just wanted to have a little recap on what's been happening. A little thank you to everyone who watched last week's video and how well received that's been. Again, if you've got any good ideas for moving that like side project on a little bit, stick them down in the comments. And if you haven't seen it, go and have a watch of it. I think you'll find it interesting. But the main thing for me, like I said at the start of the video, is that new class for the Classic TT. Obviously, I'm just kind of excited about it for my own interest in the class. It might not be as interesting for all you guys who watch it, but for me personally, I think it's so exciting to see those bikes back racing around here. But more importantly, it's exciting that I believe that class is going to be just full. It's going to be a full grid of bikes and lots of variety and some trick stuff hopefully getting dug out from some collections somewhere. And I'm really excited to see what comes out from that. So yeah, that's it. Just a quick one. Just want to say thanks, and I'll see you all in the next one.